I'm Sori.
And that's Sparky. And this is going to be public service announcement number 3. I think this is the 3rd one. Look, guys, I think one of the main themes of our channel and our community is this concept of self-awareness. And one of the ironies that we've seen is this concept of open-mindedness or so-called free thinking, right? Where if it's something that critiques our perspective and we look at a critique from our... So, for example, we are born-again evangelical Christians, right? So if somebody says something against Christianity and we say, you know what, that's a fair critique, we get lauded for being open-minded.
Right.
And people love that about us. You know what's curious, though? The minute we make a cheeseburger out of somebody else's sacred cow, all of a sudden then, it's not so cool to be open-minded or free-thinking.
Nope. Not at all.
and so, I've said this in other videos. I'm not particularly concerned with people's opinion of me or Sori per se, but I do think it's a good moment to have a good thought exercise and a good time to have some self-reflection here. Listen, if you believe that Rob Halford is the greatest singer of all time, I heard a couple people say top 10, like all time ever. If you believe that, then a couple kids critiquing his vocal style shouldn't affect you. In much the same way, I believe that Jesus Christ is 100% God, that he's the creator of the universe, that he holds the universe together by the word of his power, Hebrews 1 says. So when somebody says something crazy about Christianity, it doesn't affect me. Because that's not going to undeify Jesus, because that's my full and firm belief. Now, I recognize there's other human beings on the planet that do not carry that belief. So my belief in the deity of Christ and the truth of Christianity is not shaken by somebody else's negative opinion. And so we have been able to sort of be impervious to people's critiques of Christianity and Christ and God and the Bible, because I believe for the most part, people aren't trying to troll us. I think they're saying what they believe or don't believe.
I totally agree, yeah.
And so their unbelief doesn't shake my belief, because we're completely secure in who Jesus is. So you got to ask yourself, if somebody says something about Rob Halford that you don't like, and you honestly, objectively believe that he's the greatest singer of all time, it shouldn't affect you.
Right. If he's the greatest, he's the greatest. What does it matter what we say?
Yeah, it shouldn't really matter. Look, guys, there are tons of reaction channels that know exactly what their given audience wants to hear and see, right? And I think we've communicated pretty clearly that we're not a regular reaction channel.
No.
I mean, we do other things, we comment on other things. We're in the genre, but we're a little bit different. Doesn't mean we're better. Doesn't mean the other reaction channels suck. All I'm saying is that if you want a reaction channel that will review your favorite singer or your favorite band and always give a positive review, they're not hard to find. If you want a reaction channel that'll give you pretty much the same thing over and over again, not very hard to find. The risk that you run, and one of the things I say is the best thing about a person
is the worst thing about a person.
One of the things that you're going to run into with us is that, you know, when Sori hears Navel Viscaris or Tool and she closes her eyes and she goes off into, you know, Pink Floyd, and she goes into DMT La La Land, it's real. I will never feel a song the way that you do. And she will never analyze a song the way that I do.
Right.
It's real. She feels things in a very extreme way. Well, conversely, if something sucks to her, she feels that in a very extreme way. So the same thing that makes her go, ah, with Tool or Zen from Navel Viscaris is the same thing that will make her react the way that she does when she runs into something she doesn't like. Okay? So, I don't know what to tell you. We can only be who we are. So I don't think a couple people's opinion should destabilize you. I do think that if it's that bad, then it's obviously not a mentally healthy exercise.
I was going to say, not a healthy thing to watch the channel if it's
not
affecting you to that degree. Some people seem genuinely disturbed by our honesty with what we thought about the last Judas Priest song.
Well, when you think about like the existential implications of somebody like coming against your faith and religion, which you've built your entire life on.
Yeah.
Versus the merits or demerits of a singer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, It's almost the point where these guys have like deified this guy. Now, I will say conversely, in the matter of self-awareness with us, one of my principles with the internet is you should do and speak and comport yourself in the internet the exact same way you would if you saw the person in person. So I think to myself, I'm like, okay, if Rob Halford was in person, would I laugh at his vocals? I don't think I would.
No.
I don't think I would.
No.
I would still say, yo, bro, that was way too much. Like the stuff I said about Kerry King, I would say that to his face. For sure. I'd say your rhythm stuff is great, your solos, not so, I don't like your solos, you're terrible, you shouldn't do it. I'd say I don't like your Rain and Blood solo. I thought it was junk. So I would say all that shit to Kerry King, to his face. But would I laugh at Rob Halford?
Nope.
I don't think I would. Would you?
No, I don't think that I would, but I think that if you laughed, I might have a harder time not to laugh.
Right, if I laughed, you would laugh. That's true. But I wouldn't laugh at Rob to his face, and neither would you. No,
but I think my eyes would have still gotten big when the high point.
I think I would communicate to him clearly that it's just not my style.
Yeah,
man. I'd say I respect what you did for metal, but your vocal style, bro, is not my style, especially when you take it up there. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I'd laugh at him.
Right.
So
I'd agree with that.
So, in the interest of our own self-awareness, I'd say, okay, that if I wouldn't do that to his face, then we shouldn't do that. You see what I'm saying?
True.
So I'm going to try to hold myself to that, only do and say what I'd do and say to his face, right? Because that's the standard I usually hold people to. Some comments I'm like, this guy, if you ever...
no way in the world you said that done.
If you ever saw me in real life, believe me. Okay, so there you go. So we've all learned together at the Village. This is Metallica, and look, we love all of you unconditionally. Unconditionally, right? So, you know, we leave all the crazy comments up there. I mean, if people just being like completely ignorant, you know. And if you say you guys are dumb, you don't know anything about music, we leave that up there.
Yeah, we leave all that stuff.
Because I feel like that's a legitimate opinion.
I totally agree. I feel like if we take that off, then we're doing the same thing that they're doing by saying that we're dumb for having an opinion. Yeah.
But if somebody says something like, you know, I mean, I think you guys can put together which comments would get deleted and which ones wouldn't, right? But we leave a ton of negative commentary up there because we feel like it's all part of the growing experience, right?
For sure.
Okay, so this is Metallica Spit Out the Bone. Everybody, after we did Atlas Rise, is telling us to listen to this.
Yeah.
They were comparing it to Master of Puppets.
I still haven't heard that one.
She still hasn't heard Puppets yet, so we'll probably play Master of Puppets after this one and let you compare.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this is Spit Out the Bone, so let's go. I listened to a guy named Colin Cowherd. And in his little clip for his show, he's got this one little clip where Hetfield is saying, "Spit out the bone." That's all I've ever heard from the song. So I've avoided the song because I didn't like that little part. I'm like, oh God, this is going to be terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this is going to be the first time hearing the song in its entirety. But that little thing from the Cowherd show, like, completely spoiled me to the song.
You're kidding me.
True
I thought
story.
it would have made you want to listen to it.
No.
That's interesting.
Spit out the bone. I don't know. Weak sauce. All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
Here we go. This is my favorite Metallica song. This was my favorite for sure.
Yikes! That's some heavy shit.
Yeah, it is. This one I'd like to see live.
That is some heavy shit.
I'd like to be able to see all the artists doing that.
You see if Lars can still do that. What is Lars, like 58 now?
Jeez.
Still doing that shit with the drums?
When he was singing toward the, Stop Dreaming and Terminate for Me, All Meaning You Dedicate to Me, he'd like drag out the me. I want him to drag that friggin' me out way longer. Me. Keep going.
Yeah, James is like a growl. Me. Yeah. Did you see the solo?
Yes, I did.
The phrasing, the melody,
yes.
There was logic to it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a bunch of notes, but there was a lot. It was like a song within the song.
Yes.
The solo
I understand that. Yep.
Yeah, that's some real woo, hot fire. Okay, so this is whoever said that this is like Master of Puppets level. No.
Who does Master of Puppets?
Metallica.
Oh.
Metallica does Master of Puppets. But, people are saying like...
better than this one?
No. Well, Master of Puppets is better than the song. For sure.
In your opinion. Or in most opinion.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Because I had never really heard of this song. Except for that one little line in the Colin Cowherd thing. It's not Master of Puppets. You heard me play puppets on the guitar.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Master of Puppets, it went a lot of different places, and you'll see when we actually listen to the song.
Okay.
But this one was just straight heavy, like pew pew, like A to Z was just like
yes,
like a car accident. Like
yes.
You feel. Well, I used to go to rock shows. Like you would feel like and I've been in a couple cars, a couple bad ones. Like you would feel like you just got out of a car accident. Just your whole body.
Really?
Because you're rocking so hard. And your whole body, it's songs like that fuck you up at a rock show. Because you're just like rocking the whole time. I remember.
Yeah, but that's because you go out hard when you're there.
It's true.
Like which was it, Slipknot, or where were you? Where they like pointed you out and they got rocking in the front because you were rocking so hard. Number 7. I met him outside and he's like, dude was headbanging hardest in the front row. That's true. That's true. But this is one of those songs. I remember when we first, I went to a Slipknot show for the first time, and I remember being so freaking tired, and it was only the second song, because they started with that song. Remember that song, the first song that we reviewed, Sick? Yes.
Fuck this shit, I'm saying, I bet you're going down, this is a war. They started with that song.
What are you doing? Just jumping around the whole time? Oh my god. Oh my god.
And it's like straight, no breaks, no nothing. Like that's this type of song. You're like wrecked, and it's 7 minutes of just like they fuck you up for 7 minutes. Like that's it.
Oh my
you're
god.
done.
Taking a shower when you get home, that's for sure.
Yikes. Yeah. So this was a really, really, really heavy song. It wasn't Master of Puppets. I think as far as heaviness and speed goes, I can see how a person would say that. But as far as being a dynamic song, it is not Master of Puppets. No way. And I don't know which one is heavier between Master of Puppets and this song. I think Master of Puppets is more dynamic, and you'll say that too once you hear the whole thing.
Okay.
That's
because I want to do them back to back.
I think Cliff Burton's influence, he
I don't know if we'll release them back to back.
No, we're not gonna release it back to back.
I definitely want to hear them back to back.
But heaviness, I don't know which one is heavier. But dynamism, I give it to Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is in my opinion, the greatest heavy metal song ever.
Really?
And I don't think anybody will ever come close to it.
Why didn't you start me on that when you started me on Metallica?
Because I felt like everybody was going to do Master of Puppets. Like the Unforgiven trilogy, I haven't seen a lot of Unforgiven 3 and all this.
Okay.
Everybody does one.
So do you think
Metallica
is growing on me now? Or do you think that this one's a better song and that's why I like it more?
Well, Metallica went through stages. So when they first came on, they were just straight thrash.
Uh-huh.
Then they went through the post-Cliff Burton stage when they had the Justice record. They turned down the bass all the way. Remember I told you about that?
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
And then they went through the Black Album stage where they put, Unforgiven, the first Unforgiven, and that's kind of, a lot of people look at their decline at that point. Mm-hmm. And then now, you know, it seems like they got their mojo back with this record, because the Atlas Rise song, Atlas Rise,
oh yeah,
it's on this record too.
All right.
So this record right here, I think it's called.
I like that one though too.
Yeah, you like Atlas Rise. It was heavy as hell.
Yeah.
How did it feel on your bone? Da, 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 da,
I think I might like that one more. I don't know.
Crushed on the heavies. But that's what I mean. Like, it seems like
so
with
these
this
are on
record,
the same record.
It's on the same record.
All right. Okay.
So it seems like they're like.
Now, is this their most recent record?
Yeah, this is their
most.
Okay.
It
seems like they're saying,
it seems like they got their.
It seems like they're saying, look,
their energy.
We're
back.
Metallica.
Yeah.
Okay, like we did all the experimental shit.
Well, I wanted to be able to like Metallica and appreciate Metallica, because Metallica is something that I had heard of for so long. Not really heard the music, but I heard the name. So I'm like, they must be pretty crazy if you know, hear about them. Like,
but it's one of those things where the audience, and I'm speaking to myself here, will never be satisfied, because they've been around for like 30 years, maybe even closer to 35 than 30 years, and they. How many years can you play thrash metal?
The thing is, you gotta respect them for continuing to be able to hold that energy like that.
They experimented and they did other shit, but the minute they stepped outside of the regular thrash, everybody went down on them, including me. You know what I mean? But I doubt very highly, you know, you can't keep putting out thrash records over and over again. But I'm very happy they did with this.
Aging too.
I'm very happy they did with this.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys.
We approve.
Right. And our approval is infinitely important. Obviously. Yeah, but whoo. Okay. So musically and historically, I think this is an important record. You know
definitely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they show that they could still wreck it. And it's one of those. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna switch the lyrics. Go ahead. And it's one of those what?
I just think it was one of those things where, like, you know, people say dumb shit. I said it in the middle of my fandom, because I got introduced to Metallica through the Justice for All record. Mm-hmm. Then I went backwards. And then I ran into the Black Album, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? Like, so I experienced it all simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
And they were saying, like, look, we could do thrash, we could do like the heavy shit, but like we gotta expand as artists. And I was like, fuck that, you guys just lost it.
You know what? It stinks, because you want to be able to say, yeah, they should be able to grow and expand as artists, but if you want to make a living off it, you kind of.
Well, that's the conundrum, because when they did the Black Album record, that blew them up. Like they went from like being the greatest underground band ever. And they weren't really underground by the time Justice came out. They were all over MTV and stuff. But they still kind of had that underground feel. Mm-hmm. But then when they went to the Black Album, they just blew up. Like some of the chord progressions, like I'm sure once you know, eventually we'll do some Black Album reviews and stuff, you'll recognize them, because they're just that iconic.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So Black Album pushed them into like commercial. It made them billionaires, you know, like. And so then all the previous guys were like, you just did that for the money and blah blah blah. I think they got a new producer, Bob Rock. He told James Hetfield he could sing and all this other stuff. That's very different. Okay. Come on to me. So what stuck out to you? What do you think overall is the
theme? It just sounds
theme of the song.
It sounds like I don't know, robots are taking over, and you know, see, even he thinks maybe Siri might.
Tell that story.
No, if you want to see it, don't they just go to Twitter or something? What is that, on Instagram?
Instagram Live.
Go on Instagram Live if you want to see the story. I'm not going to embarrass myself here again. Something I said to Vin in the privacy of our own room, and then he pulled up Instagram, and I just went along with it. And I kept asking myself after, why did you go along with it? I'm like, I don't know. He had already hit record, so I just talked. I don't know. So we're gonna move along anyway. So I think robots were taking over, is what it sounds like, and it seems like that they wanted to, like, it almost seemed like that the people weren't dying, but they were like upgrading to become robots to eradicate all humanity. But that's what it seemed like.
Yeah. Man and machine.
And it said like man overthrown, spit out the bone. out of that, I just got bones can be broken, but machines are like more durable. So spitting out the bone to me was like spitting out the human side of them, the breakable, the fragile, the bone. You know what I mean? And you spit out the bones, like you keep the meat and you spit out the bones. So the frail side of human beings was what was disposable, and then it was encompassed by the machine. So that's just what I got out of it.
Yeah, Fear Factory really explored this in a lot of their records.
The idea of
man and machine and how that worked together and all that. Like a lot of that stuff.
Well, I think it's weird.
Fear Factory talked about a lot of it. Go ahead.
I mean, I think about that kind of stuff a lot, and I always feel like weird and uncomfortable with like the robot things. Like they had that robot-looking woman,
the AI woman, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel uncomfortable, and whenever I watch, uncomfortable in the sense of like they look so human, and even if they didn't look human and they looked more like machines, I still feel sad for them. Anytime we watch a robot movie and the robots are being dismembered, like I feel so bad for them.
Deus Ex Machina we were watching with the girl. Remember, the girl was a robot. They kept her behind.
Yeah, of course she turned out to be evil as hell. Oh, spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
Anyway, but she was evil as hell. But I still felt bad. I would have let her out too.
I wouldn't have let her out. It's a freaking robot.
You wouldn't have let her out?
No.
She's talking to you nice like that?
No.
What if she looked like me and you didn't know me? And she was talking to you?
Then I definitely wouldn't let her out. Come on to me, you'll never feel rejection. Boy, I don't even know if I want to go there.
What do you mean? You have to.
Come on to me, you'll never feel rejection. You know, you got these people that have like these life-size like dolls. You know what I mean? That you do stuff with. You know,
that's true.
Because they can't deal with like engaging with a female and dealing with that rejection.
What?
But you know, I mean, that I told you like some of the reason why people are the way they are with you. You know, here you are, this beautiful woman, and you're having a digital relationship, and you're rejecting them, which, digitally speaking, but beautiful women don't reject you usually.
Right.
On TV.
Right.
So here you are.
Yeah, sometimes the way that I feel like that people say about me voicing my opinions, I feel like that they wouldn't, I feel like there's like some misogyny behind what they're saying, because I don't feel like that, like some of the ways that you've come out in some of the videos, you know, about not liking it, they haven't come after you like they've come after me. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be mean. If I don't like it, I'm just going to tell you I don't like it.
But yeah, I think it's and those are like the ones that we delete, like the people who are like really, really crazy on the fringe, the 1%,
right.
We just get rid of them. But I do think there's some of that psychology happening where, you know, when you have access to so much digital information and images of beautiful women who are always compliant, it's that, come on to me, you'll never feel rejection.
Wow.
You know, it's pretty crazy. But then, you know, Fear Factory, like I said, explores this a lot, where they look at like, okay, but so on the one hand, we use machines to kind of serve purposes, right? So initially, like, one of us figured out, shit, I can make this wheel. I can carry shit a lot more efficiently. Fuck, if I make 2 wheels and put a... and, oh shit, we figured out you do put 4 wheels, and oh, now you got a cart. Then you can get an engine spinning, now you get a car, and it's there to serve man.
Right.
Basically, machines are the slaves of men, right? But then where is that line to where it gets reversed? You know what I mean? Like, and that's what a lot of like this, you know, people are talking about AI right now, artificial intelligence, and like the machine can think for itself. And
I know, it's so weird.
It's a crazy conundrum where on the one hand there are servants, but on the other hand they're superior to us in the sense that they're impervious to damage.
Yep.
You know, the Terminator series, like...
I never saw those.
Here you have this robot and you're shooting at him and shit, and nothing happens to him, and he regenerates and does all this shit to you. You know what I mean? Like, so on the one hand there are slaves, but on the other hand they're vastly superior to us, which is the whole, like you were saying, like spit out the bone, like the weak... You know, bleeding through your fragile skin, remove your heart, it's only good for bleeding.
That part I thought was crazy, because, like, that's, you know, basically stacked on the rejection thing. And I was thinking, like, when you make those choices to not feel the rejection, like, I don't know that that's what he was trying to communicate in the song, but it does fit. Like, because people are feeling rejected by, you know, if we don't like certain reactions, then the way that they react, we're talking about the 1% here, is that what, that's what I'm talking about. The 1% reacts like they don't have a heart. Like some of the things that they're saying is like heartless. Well, I just think that that's interesting that if you let rejection embed itself that much deep into you, you're going to react heartlessly toward other people. Leading through your fragile skin, but it shows that you have frailties, that you react like that.
Well, we were talking about the strange social pathologies that technology has afforded us. So, for example, we were listening to these Christians, I think it was about a year ago, and these 3 kids, dumb, stupid kids, broke into a house. One of them had a knife, the other one had a pair of brass knuckles. Well, the kid who was in the house, the homeowner, it was him and his dad. His dad was sleeping. The kid takes out his AR, opens the door, pew, 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 goes back in, and kills all 3 kids.
Yep.
I get it. It's a home invasion. But the way that these are like hyper pro Second Amendment, and I don't, you know, come to the live stream in a couple hours. You'll see. I'm not against guns in total, but here's what I'm saying. These Christians were saying, good for them, that's what they get, laughing about these kids that just got killed, making this big joke, and I'm like, if that grieving mother was there, you wouldn't have said that shit. You wouldn't have been like that. So like, you kind of, the technology kind of affords you to kind of lose your heart and lose your humanity.
I totally
because
agree.
we're so disconnected from it. And you know, I called myself out on it earlier where I said, if Halford was there, would you laugh at him? No, I wouldn't.
Right.
So like you lose your, because I'm face to face with a human being, and I know he put his whole soul into it, I'm gonna laugh at that. But because I've got that separation that the technology affords,
yes,
then you can do that. So like it does, like technology on the one hand, it's really a crazy dichotomy, because on the one hand it brings us together. Like we've got like 17,000 people in our community. Thank you, by the way. And it's great, and we all wouldn't have known each other aside from this technology. But on the other hand, it makes us very inhumane with one another.
No, it's true.
Which is why we do, like, you know, the live chats and all the rest of it, so that we can humanize the people that we're talking to. Because on the other hand, when you see something crazy, you're like, oh, motherfucker, da, 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 da. It's like, well, if the person was like sitting next to you, you wouldn't be that quick to write them off. You'd be like, okay, let's talk this through. Let's try to figure it out.
I don't get like motherfucker.
Well, I'm like that. You're not like that.
No.
You're just sweet as pie.
No, I'm not sweet as pie. It makes me sad sometimes.
Oh.
Or sometimes, if I feel a little angry about it, then I go read it to you.
Yeah. Disappear.
Then I live vicariously through you messaging back.
Accelerate utopian solution.
Babe, I love you, but I need that Red Bull in between us. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Accelerate utopian solution. Finally cure the earth of man. Exterminate speeding up evolution. 7-course and master plan. Yeah, you know, that's a strange idea. The idea that if the machine was to become conscious of itself, this would be kind of like the idea, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like if that little android, like there was this android lady, and everybody was like freaking out, all the conspiracy people, like, look at this shit. Because she basically said, I'm going to exterminate all humans or something like that. And people were freaking out. It's that nice little white lady with the half head.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? She's like, I am here to destroy all humanity. And people are like, what the fuck? She thought that herself, blah, blah, blah. So like if
Why
those...
did she say that?
I don't know. Probably some computer programmer whiz kid at like 14 years old. I'm going to say this shit because he's going on CNN. You know what I mean?
It could be.
Yeah. And everybody wants Siri to sound more and more lifelike.
I know.
You know, and
I told you that's why I thank her.
yeah, you're just scared of Siri. Like, I don't think I can theologically support the idea of a machine becoming conscious, because I think consciousness is a metaphysical thing. I don't think it's a something that's in the material universe.
Yeah, but how do you explain the, like, geez, I don't know enough about this subject to talk intelligently, but I remember we were watching this thing and it was like this like little man thing that was like running, and they said like they were changing the terrain and the computer itself kept getting smarter to be able to handle the different, like, well, how does it, what do you mean it gets smarter? What the frig, is it learning? I don't understand it's learning. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, the computer is doing a mathematical probability of what, you know, I remember the experiment you're talking about, like, what would be the best strategy for this guy to get up the hill? But that's very, very simple. You'd know that the computer was self-aware if he said, fuck you, I'm not going up the hill. And the guy turned around and did one of these. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I see what
But
you're
if it's
saying.
a binary A to B and you program the computer, get this guy from A to B as fast as possible, and you put obstacles in the way, that's not the same thing as a guy like having a mind of his own saying, look, motherfucker, I'm not running up
that's
your
what
hill
happens
anymore.
in all those movies. That's what the machine says,
that's
wait
the
a
fear.
minute.
Yeah, that's the fear, right? When the machine
Yeah.
kind of wakes up and has, and then it's like, does it have rights? Does it have, you know, whatever? And it creates all these existential questions. But, you know, I don't think I don't believe that consciousness, and, you know, I talked to a good friend of mine about this a couple days ago. Consciousness, like real consciousness, is not a physical, it's not a chemical. Like, consciousness is not a chemical. It's not something in the physical world that you can just put into a machine. You know, I think that that's a metaphysical thing, and I think that's one of the greatest mysteries of, you know, I think that that's at the limits of, you know, the scientific method as far as what we can understand. So I don't think this is ever going to happen.
When they clone stuff, does it have consciousness? Or
Clone
we don't
what?
know because they only cloned like a lamb, and we can't know if it knows it's conscious.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to do like a monkey or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, but even still, if you're cloning an animal, the animal that it's being cloned from is already conscious. What you're talking about is taking an actual machine
Yeah.
and putting consciousness into it. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if it did, we'd be fucked. Because what would you use to destroy it? Another machine.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, fuck, you're one of us. Fuck those people. You know, we'd be done. These guys are like playing around with like making these computers have AI and all the rest of it, and you're like, you know, machine the new divine.
Yeah.
They would basically become the gods.
Yes.
Of the, and then we would then become the slaves of our slaves, basically.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's really crazy because we're still slaves to our machines. Even now, like when this thing malfunctions, we're like, fuck! And
Yeah.
Your whole day gets put on hold and
Friggin'
all
took
that
2 hours to download the last show.
Yeah, yeah. So
Upload it.
it's a very interesting relationship man has with technology. You know.
No, what do you think flesh betrays the flesh?
Because the weakness of human beings we end up betraying it. You know, that's why your man has had its time. We
So
lay
it's
him
the
down
own
and rest.
person as they're making that decision. They betray themselves.
Well, the weakness of humanity is
Yeah.
ultimately what betrays humanity.
Yeah.
Because we can't attain to what we want to because of our frailty. You know, so
That's crazy. And then as soon as they're talking about it like it becomes this utopian society, but then it says, stop breathing and dedicate to me, stop dreaming and terminate for me. All meaning you dedicate to me, all feelings you terminate for me. So like it becomes just the slave of the machine.
well, you got these virtual reality things, you know, and like I think to myself, like, what if there was a real good, not clunky or corny virtual reality video game where we could play Gears of War and we could actually be in the
Well, it
world.
was that movie remember that movie we watched, the movie theater?
Yeah, Ready Player One.
Yeah, like that sort of idea.
Right, and if you had actually
People
that
would abandon reality for that place.
Exactly. If you had that level of immersion in a virtual world, you would have. There was this thing in, I think it's Japan. I was listening to this missionary once, and he's talking about like, you know, there's this thing in Japan where kids just go and play video games for like 5-6 days straight. Some of them die and all that shit. And can you imagine like getting, you know, I mean, that's it. You would plug in, that's it. You dedicate your entire time.
They
to
would.
it.
There's so many people that would.
We would.
No, I would not get lost in a friggin' game, Vin.
I think you're overestimating yourself.
No, I'm not. I have children, and that's what would make me definitely come back out.
Sure.
You mean unless they're in the game with us? And so I can see them, and I can feel like, oh, okay, they're good, and
Yeah.
I keep doing my thing,
They're in a little village somewhere.
and they can pop in when they want to see me.
They
And
wouldn't
it's gonna
want to
keep
see
them
you.
from fighting and stuff.
They wouldn't want to see you. They're
Right.
doing their co-op village thing.
Well, I could get sucked in more than I would like
Of
to
course,
admit.
yeah. So I mean, where's the? That's it. We're finished. We're doomed. Doomed America.
You know what's the thing too? Is that people would do terrible things inside there because they're not technically doing them.
Right. Well, they do it right now in the what is it? Grand Theft Auto game, and you're like assaulting these women and all that shit, and you get bonus points for, you know, I mean, it's insane.
That's terrible.
But yeah, and yeah, you could get to the point where it's so real and immersive where you could do whatever you want to do.
Zero consequences.
And there'd be no consequences.
But the fact is, it still has consequences. It's going to have consequences on your soul because everything that you take part in, everything that you see affects you.
Well, yeah, all that shit rewires your brain, and it won't be long till it actually spills out in the real world. You know, so I mean, these dudes that like imbibe, you know, 15 hours of porn, you know, I mean, they get to the point where regular shit can't excite them in the real world, and then doing all types of crazy shit out there.
No, it's true.
And I'm not saying if you look at porn, you're automatically going to be that. But what I am saying is that you ask any.
There's
I know these people that work in these fields. So let me just say it this way: go contact your local special investigator for crimes and of that nature, and see if there's no correlation. There is.
There's that Facebook website that, or whatever it's called, that Fight the New Drug, has a ton of information on it. Well worth checking out.
Yeah. What do you give the song?
8.5, 9, 8.5. Yeah, 9, 8.5.
It's a 9. It's a 9 for me. It's a 9. The people that were saying Master Puppets, I get why they were saying it. It's not Master Puppets, but it's you know, because I was like Countryalica and all this shit. This is Metallica, like.
Yeah, I like this one.
This is
and
Metallica.
I like the content. That, you know.
Yeah, you like the sci-fi shit, the scary shit.
It always fascinates me.
Yeah. All right. So would you give it? 8.5?
Yeah, I keep floating between 8.5 and 9.
All right. What's your final answer? 1, 2, 3, go.
8.5.
All right. 9 for me. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go on. Stop being so sensitive. Go on.